I know this is the very first convertible E-Type ever, but I have to find out what it's like when we give it some noise. Oh! Ho, ho. Can you imagine what it must have been like in 1961? You'd been to the bakery, you'd queued for a week for a loaf of bread, you were on your way home in black and white in your Humber, and you were overtaken by one of these. It must have just been staggering. What was that? It's the same age, this car and me, give or take. And I think it has aged better. Still looks good.
But it wasn't just the looks that astonished everyone back in 1961.
Back then, the equivalent Ferrari or Maserati was £6,000, a little bit more, in fact. This was £2,098. And this, thanks to its 3.8-litre straight-six engine, was faster. Oh, ho, ho. This is just heaven! Even by today's standards, that is a lot of blow.
Small wonder the E-Type became a must-have accessory for the jet set. Princess Grace, Steve McQueen, Tony Curtis, Britt Eklund, Frank Sinatra, George Best, Roy Orbison, Charlton Heston, Count Basie. They all had E-Type Jags.
No car before ever caused such a stir, and no car has since, really.
Until now. This is called the Eagle Speedster. Made by a small engineering company in Sussex, it looks like an E-Type. It's even based on an E-Type. But there have been some changes. The aluminium body is deeper. The windscreen is lower and more steeply raked. The wheels are new, and the tyres, and the brakes, and the interior.
If someone had come to me asking for planning permission to alter an E-Type Jaguar, I'd have said, no, don't be stupid, you'll mess it up. But they haven't. I think this, by a long way, is the most beautiful car I've ever seen. It might actually be the most beautiful thing I've ever seen.
And the surgery is not just cosmetic. Under the bonnet, there's a fuel-injected 4.7-litre straight-six, which sends its power to the rear wheels through a 5-speed gearbox and an aluminium differential.
As a result of all the aluminium, which doesn't weigh very much, this has a better power-to-weight ratio than a Porsche 911 Turbo. And as a result of that, it'll do 0 to 60 in 5 seconds. Flat out, it'll do 160. And then there's the noise. It is spitting fire. It's a Spitfire. That's what it is. The looks, the noise. This to me is absolute perfection. I will put my hand on my heart and say here and now, I have never, ever driven a car, ever, that I've wanted more than this one. I yearn to have it.
There is, however, a problem.
Because every single piece of this car pretty much was handmade, the price is fantastic, enormous, eye-watering. I didn't know numbers went this high, but it turns out they do. So sit down, I'm going to say it. Here we go. The Eagle Speedster is £500,000. £500,000.
That's a lot for a toy, a car that doesn't even have a roof. But this is more than a toy. It's a modern take on the E-Type Jag. And the E-Type, with the possible exception of Concorde, is almost certainly the last truly great thing Britain made. I think we should be more proud of it than we actually are.
Its 50th birthday was marked by a small piece on page 16 of the Daily Telegraph, and I don't think that's right, which is why I've organised something a little more substantial. I've organised something which recognises that this is the soul, the spirit, the beating heart of all that we can be. The E-Type is not a plucky Brit that's happy to come home second. It would not be humiliated by Barcelona. It would not simply wave Sebastian Vettel by. And if you asked an E-Type to organise a royal wedding, it would not ferry the guests to Westminster Abbey in a fleet of minibuses. The E-Type does not know what a minibus is. Every country has an icon. The great nation of France has the big brown pylon in the middle of Paris. Australia has a rock. The Belgians have a urinating infant. Well, this, I put it to you, is ours, our Jerusalem, our chariot of fire, the maypole around which the people of this funny little rock in the North Atlantic can gather to remind ourselves that once upon a time we really were as great as we think we are now. It won't start.